I was run off the road at one point, found myself laying in a creek, firefighters coming down to rescue me, broken ribs. My brother, I got on the phone with him that evening, and he said, Michael, if you don't get on the bike, every day that goes by will be harder to get back on that bicycle. That next morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, I was back on that bicycle. That's what we have to do in our lives. We have to align with that frequency. You have to work constantly at being in alignment with that goal, with that dream, with that direction you're going.
Wow, Michael. Wow. Like, I'm literally gonna cry.
I have Luis Barraza from Blue Wave Home Improvement with us today. I'm excited to talk with him, understand a little bit about his business, and answer questions that he has. So, Luis, tell me a little bit about you. Why are you here today?
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you so much for the opportunity to have me here. I am here, as I told you before, you're somebody that I admire and that I watch your videos, and what a blessing that I was able to connect with you in the Connect, and look at us here now. So very excited for this. I am here to share a little bit about me, myself, my background, and go from there. I'm very excited that we do the same thing and we have passion for what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so Blue Wave Home Improvement. Tell me what you do and what's kind of like something that you just love about what you do.
Okay, that's a good question. So we are a remodeler in Central Virginia. We specialize in bathrooms, kitchens, basements, and interior painting. That's what we do. That's the 4 things that we do. Anything inside, basically. We've been in business since 2020. We are licensed, insured, and bonded in Virginia. We actually hold a RBC license in Virginia, so we're a residential builder, but we focus in remodeling. If there's one thing that I have a passion for and people remember me for, it's because I love to remodel ugly bathrooms. So every time I go to to an event and stuff like that, I always tell them, hey, look, we can do anything else inside, but please know that I have a big passion for ugly bathrooms. So I love remodeling bathrooms, and I just love the way that you can turn something ugly to something very beautiful. So that is something that I have a passion for, and that's how people remember me.
Sure. That's awesome, Luis. And so you've been in business since 2020. How big is your team?
Yeah. We have, right now we have about 8 people in our team. We got, and then one subgroup that we use, which are really good people. So it's basically, my business partner, myself, my crew leader, my office manager. Then we have the crew helper, and then we have the delivery guy, and obviously the subs that we use. But that's how big we are. We haven't, we don't want to grow as big as, because sometimes it's just too much of a headache. And I think the quality of people that we have right now, it's amazing. So the less you have, the better it is for us.
Sure.
See it.
So 6 years, or you're going into your 6th year, what has been the biggest hurdle that you've had to work through over the last 6 years?
That's a good question, and it has been not knowing my numbers.
That's a good one.
Yeah, not knowing my numbers has been very, very hard. I used to price everything out just from whatever came to my mind. I used to, give up numbers and just say yes to everything, right? That has been one of the biggest problems that I face. And it has definitely helped me a lot to learn my numbers, and I'm still learning them. There's every day you learn something new, but I will say that has been one of the biggest thing. And the other one has been when I used to work as a subcontractor, the company is not paying me for the jobs that we used to do. So we had that bad experience with somebody, and, just starting, trying to make some money. And then you find out that, the project manager was actually stealing from the other company. So it was one of the hard things that sometimes like, dang, like I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Because you still have to pay the crew, right? You still have to pay everybody. So, that's been really hard for us. But thank God we have been able to I've been able to learn, read, and know my numbers, and that's very important
Yeah,
for
sure.
everybody.
Not knowing your numbers is like driving a car with no speedometer. You can do it, you can make it happen, but you don't know if you're going around a curve too fast. You don't know if there's a lot of traffic behind you, if you're going too slow and you may get plowed from behind. And so the importance of knowing those numbers. And then I think also, and something that I've had to work through, is helping my team understand the importance of numbers. Why is it that I'm like, I need those results? I need to understand that as you scale, you can't do it without knowing numbers, or you're setting yourself up for disaster.
Right. That's a really good way to see it, to put it, like you said, with a car, and not having, so yeah, that's definitely a lot to learn. And not a lot of people want to show their team their numbers. But it's very important to do that. It's very
Sure.
important because you cannot do everything by yourself. You got to be humble enough to know that there's more people, or there's people out there that know more than you do.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Surround yourself with people that have been down that road, understand a little bit better, and you become the person of the five people you hang around.
yeah.
And so if you're not surrounding yourself with those like-minded individuals, those goal setters, those individuals that are pushing the envelope on thing, then you just become who you hang around.
Right. That is totally correct. And it's very important to hang around with the right people, because, as one bad apple can bring everything down. So, but yeah, that's very important. Again, that's how I always seen it. Like, just ask questions. There's people who are willing to help you out there.
Sure.
Just don't be I guess don't be shy. Come out of your comfort zone and ask questions, just like I did with you. It was I was kind of shy at first, but I was like, "Man, I cannot let this opportunity go by. Like, I gotta see him. I gotta tell him what, all the stuff. So I gotta tell him what I think about him, what I see about, all this cool stuff. So, that's why I think we're here now.
So tell me something over the last 6 years that you've been in business that you're super proud of.
Wow. That's a good question. You know, I I'm able to I'm not an expert yet, but I've learned to do like designs. I'm able to, like, do renderings for my bathrooms, my kitchens. So
Mm-hmm.
I had no experience about that. Like, I went to college for business administration.
Uh-huh.
And that's what I went to college for, but never about design. Like, I had no idea about designing, but because of my business, I was required to actually learn that. And I think that's one of the things I'm very proud of. I'm also very proud of the team that I have.
Sure.
These guys are amazing. These guys have been phenomenal. They know exactly what they got to do, and the business partner I have. So my business partner has been great. And every time, if he's down, I'm down, and if he's down and I'm happy and all that, I always try to give him the good vibes, right? And I'm feeling down, he does the same thing to me. So it's that support that we have from each other.
Yeah, absolutely. You talked about with the design and learning it, and not only are you creating a skill for yourself, the importance of understanding every aspect of your business. You don't have to be the professional at it, but if you can understand 60% of those areas that aren't maybe necessarily your skill, but like for myself, I want to understand at a minimum 60% of my marketing. I want to understand 60% of design, 60% of production, which I know more than production because I used to be in the field. But that way you can manage. You can manage that team, and you can understand when you go and have conversations with them, you know enough information that you can pivot, that you can twist, that you can do things. If you are relying 100% on their knowledge, it's going to bite you in the butt.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I had to learn that way too. The first guys that I work with, I hire, they didn't take me seriously because they think that I didn't know anything about
Sure.
construction, right? And man, I was learning a lot, and I was reading a lot. I was asking questions, and I was like, look, I know this is not how you do stuff, but and eventually I started earning the respect because I was like, this is how you do it. This is the right way to do it. And doing trainings and seminars, all those stuff helped me a lot. Obviously I was on the field too, working with my partner, because my partner was the one that gave me the opportunity to work. And he was like, well, you can come and learn. And we started as a part-time, and then we went from there. But then I started full-time with him. And just when I was in college, I was still working with him. So that's how I became what I am right now, because of him as well.
So was this his company and you came on as a partner, or did y'all form it together?
We formed it together.
Okay.
He was working, but he had no company, nothing set up, anything like that. And we were working together. So he was he was working, but he didn't have anything set up. And I told him, you know what, let's open our business, right? And we find out that it's not just about opening a business. It's not just about opening an LLC and whatever. It's more than that, right? So I come to my accountant and I say, hey, I want to open a construction company. I want to be a remodeler. And I was like, I want to be a subcontractor. That's what I told her. I want to be a subcontractor, right? And then she was like, well, we can help you with that. And we can get everything worked out. I was like, okay, cool. So we went there, and then when the day we sat down and we signed all the papers, she was like, do you know you need a license for working as a contractor, right? I was like, a license? She's like, yeah, you need a license. So I went there, and then I started like looking around, looking where I can get a license, or how can I apply for a license, all that. And I found great people in my way. So on the way to get the license, but they were like, well, you need a license. So I went to passed the exam, took the classes and all those stuff. And after that, I was very very happy with it. It took a lot of time, because I failed a couple of times because they were asking me questions that I didn't know anything about, like blocks and like roof, things I didn't do. So they would ask me questions about that, and I will fail them.
Yeah.
But yeah. I've learned to respond to them. I learned the questions, and I just went from there.
Yeah, totally. Having a business, I was a great carpenter, and I learned from great master carpenters, and I became super skilled at what I did. What I was not good at was running a business. I didn't know how to run a business. And so the evolving of learning how to shift out of the mindset of being in the field and what all of that entails to what is sales, what is marketing, what is operations, what is finance, what is design, all of those different things. And then not only that, to scale, you can't do it on your own back. You have to do it on the backs of others. And so now you're learning how to communicate with others. You're learning how to understand one personality over the next personality, how you get the best motivation and the best response out of one employee, and then you handle another one totally different that handles it differently. Right. And so, this constant learning of now you're no longer the field guy. You're no longer the expertise in remodeling. You're the expertise in how do I run a business? How do I scale? How do I, to your point earlier, know your numbers? How do you understand a P&L statement, a balance sheet statement, and operate your business based off of the metrics, where you can then go back to your team and go, this is where we got to shift. This is where we got to pivot in order to scale and go the direction we want to go. And last thing, also get painting the picture of your vision. Another super important thing.
Yeah, that's very important. Definitely helps a lot, because even if you write it down, even if you write your goals down, helps a lot, because then you have like a plan, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very important. I mean, your team, you got to trust, you got to believe in your team. Like you said, some people take it differently, and you got to learn how to deal with your team. Because honestly, we're nothing without our team.
Yeah, totally.
We could have 20 jobs, but if our team doesn't show up, we're not doing anything, right? Yeah. We're not doing anything. So it's very important to always treat people with respect and believe in them, right? Even if sometimes they're feeling down, like, hey, ask them questions, ask them about, it's not just about work, right? It's about asking them, hey, how's your family doing? How's your kids doing? How's your
Sure.
wife? Those kind of questions, makes them feel very important, which they are very important, but those kind of questions make a huge difference in people's lives. So I think that's one thing that definitely will I always use, and I always put in my business, that I always ask them, I always call them, we go out and spend time together, because that's what it's about, right?
Right.
I'm really thankful for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So 6 years you've been in business now. Tell me what is your why?
What is my why?
Yeah, what's your why?
Well,
Why do
that's
you get up every morning and do this? Why is this important to you?
Well, I mean, I have huge dreams. Like, it's a why. Honestly, one of them is because I really love what I do. I have a passion for it. I love the relationship that I build with my customers, and that's what I only do, like residential remodeling. I don't do any
Mhm.
commercial. It's because I love the customer service, the
Sure.
experience with customers. I love hearing the customers say, "Luis, you have done a great job. I love how you do your daily logs. I love how you keep us informed of everything that's going on." That's a very big why. Other personal why would be, I want to like own a farm. That's another why. I want to be able to spend time with my family on the weekends, right?
Yeah.
Um, have that freedom that I'm looking for, right? Help my mom out. My mom is very important to me, so help her out. Um, you know, have my kids with my wife, and have them have like their cows, and have a farm with them. So that's what I'm really, really, really happy for.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it's so important to understand your why, because it's only time before you'll want to give up. It
Hmm.
happens. You'll go through a tough patch, you'll go through a hard time, you'll go through a difficult situation, and you'll want to give up. And that why is the reason why you keep moving forward. And whatever that is, whether it's your kids, whether it's your family, whether it's your wife, whatever that is, being so solid in that why. My why is to impact people's lives. And when I've gone through those hard situations, that's what I fall back on.
Right.
Like, I want to make a difference. I want to create a legacy. I want to build a organization that when I'm gone, this thing keeps running. And not only does it keep running, but the legacy of what I developed and what the team developed keeps moving forward and impacting lives.
Right.
And I believe that there will be millionaires created from our efforts if we keep them the priority, if we keep that our why.
Right.
And so, I think it's super important to have that why solidified, and that you live by it, you breathe by it, and it's so ingrained in what you do, as if it's oxygen that you have to have for your breath. So good to hear that you've created that and made it something important for you.
Yeah, it's very important. I mean, obviously, I think there's so many whys, but like you said, it has to be one that's solidified, and there's a lot of them. I mean, there's if I was to go one by one, it's gonna be hours of your speaking here, and it's like the same thing, like why I'm here. So I'm like, it's like I always like, even like when I talk to people, when I speak to them, when I see somebody new, I'm always adding value to them. If I can add value, that's another why. Like why I'm doing this, because I want to add value to you. I want to see if I can help you in one way or another. So that's another one. There's so many, but I think that's very important, to have the why solidified and know exactly where you wake up, because sometimes you don't want to get up to bed and it's like,
Yeah.
another day, but if you remember why, I'm pretty sure we'll get up to bed.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about value, and the way I look at it, you have value and you have price. If you can't differentiate your value to a customer, the price will be the differentiator. And so if you don't stand out to a client in value, then they're going to be shopping for price. And therefore, if they're shopping for price, you're going to get underpaid. Whereas when you create it off of value, what can I provide back to our client? What can I do for them? Taking their pain points, their struggles, listening to them and addressing those things, those pain points, that's when value is created.
Yeah, no, that's a really good way to see it. Definitely a good way to see it. Um, and I definitely will take that advice. Definitely will take that advice. Um, and again, value is very important, right? It's very important. Something that not everybody has it, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
sure. What have been some of the hardships that you've had to go through?
but that's a good question. Um, going back again, I think not knowing the right people has been really hard. Not being able to get advice from someone and be like, hey, look, this is what I do. Do this. Maybe it tries out, works out for you. I just have to like learn it through like books and like and hard knocks, right? I will make so many mistakes, and I was just, and next time I'm not gonna do that mistake, right? So that's been really hard. Um, I would say another one would be learning the systems.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have systems, right? And not being organized like I am now. I used to be really disorganized. Now I'm organized more than I was. The other thing was, we Hispanic have a lot of we have a thing called that we're always late to stuff. So that was really hard for me because I grew up with that. But now I'm always early to everywhere. Like
Yeah.
I'm early. Like if I tell a client I'll be there like at 8, between I usually give them an hour a window, but I was like, I'll be there between 8 and 9. I'm there at 7:50.
Yeah, sure.
Because when you start doing that, again, that value, we're going back to that value, right? You
Yeah.
start adding value, and also they start seeing that you're responsible. You're starting a good way. But if I tell a client I'll be there at 9 and I'm there at 9:30, I'm, they're not gonna trust me anymore.
Sure.
So
Sure.
that's been things that have changed and have been hard for me. But they changed for good.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to build that trust with clients. It's so important. Um, Building that trust I feel like, is one of the key points to selling. We live in such an informational stage now. Anybody can go online and get as much information as they can. And so the differentiator there would be that building that trust and really getting to a place where that client is like, I want to work with them because I trust them. I want to work with them because the value that they provide. Yesterday, I was working with a potential client, and we basically pampered them all morning long. I took them from job to job to job of previous projects that we have completed. And I just listened to their pain points, listened to their frustrations that they have in their own kitchen that they want remodeled. And that's what I targeted on that and tapped into that. And just throughout the morning, just building that trust. By the time we got finished with our meeting, they're ready to sign a contract, And so 4 hours of just spending some time with them doesn't take much, but doing that ultimately will get you the contract you want.
Definitely. That is very true. I've done the same thing too. I love sales, right? But I wouldn't say I'm a pushy seller. Like I love sales, but I think there's more than that. There's have to be that honesty. And that's what my company has, honesty, quality, and excellence, because that's what I go by, right? You have to be honest with your clients. You cannot cut corners. You cannot lie to them. If you say that you're going to do something and you don't have to do it, just tell them, hey, I can't do that. Stop.
Yeah.
Be straight up, right? And some people say, hey, we do everything, and then they come out and they find out that they don't do everything, right? So just be honest with them. If something goes wrong, tell them, right? Like I got potential clients from people that have referred me, and I haven't even started a job yet.
Yeah, sure.
Like I got a customer, like literally right now we're doing a job. She already told me, she's like, hey, I referred to my neighbor. I was like, we only got demolition here. She's like, yeah, but you have been great with like communication, with the way that you say things, the way that you guys, do all the work. So, that's a blessing, right? That's really blessing. So I think you have to be honest. I got another job that we did actually about 3 weeks ago. That the other contractor came and said, "Hey, look, we have to like resend the whole flooring when in reality it didn't need to be resended." That's
Hmm.
the homeowner. I'm like, look, it can be done, but it's not something that is needed, right?
Sure.
The floor is not damaged. The floor is it's in good conditions. There was like one dark spot like probably like in like half an inch of a spot that was dark, and that's why they want to resend the whole thing. I
Oh,
was like,
wow.
you know, and the homeowner called me and say, you know what? I thought I thought he was not gonna call me, but after 3 weeks, he's like, hey, you know what? I want to do my job.
Sure.
I like how you came and you're not trying to sell me. So those things make a huge difference, right?
Yeah.
Knowing those kind of things and being able to help the clients because at
Sure.
the end of the day, you're there to help them, make them feel better. Because after we do a lot of water damage too. So after they have water loss, nobody wants to be there and be depressed, right? They want to be able to find somebody that they can hold their hand and finish their job and be happy with everything.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. It just, that common thread there is just making an impact, and when you can service them, when you can create value, when you can create and build that trust, people are willing to pay the price. They don't, if they feel that they can trust us, if they feel that there is value, they will pay the price. And, not only with impacting the clients, but even impacting our team. I had a guy work for me almost 20 years. And last April, he moved back to his country to start his own business. And 7 years prior to that, he came to me and he goes, Michael, I bought some property in Guatemala where he was from. And one day I'm going to go back and I'm going to have my own business. And he planted some rubber trees. And he said, 3 years. I'm like, okay, so 3 years came and gone. And then another 3 years came and gone. And then I had this sneaky feeling the beginning of last year. I just intuitively, I was like, he's leaving. And I went to him and I said, when's your last day? And he's like, I was going to tell you, but it's April. And I'm like, dude, you didn't give me any time. But what I love about it, and we had a big celebration for him and what he did for us and the company, but I know that I made an impact in that guy's life.
Definitely.
And even though I wasn't a part of necessarily the property that he bought or the plants that he planted, but I was in an indirect way.
Indirect.
And so now he's got crops that are producing a harvest. He's starting to learn what it's like to have employees. His first week down there, he had to fire his first employee. And I was like, welcome to my world. And, but I know I made an impact in his life. And regardless of him moving on, I really felt like I did my job. I did my part. And I know that he can take what I taught him and what he learned and what he mirrored from watching me in business and even my failures, that I know that he'll be able to take it with him and create success for himself.
Yeah, no, that talks really good about you. And I mean, energies can lie. Like you have a great energy. Honestly, you have great energy, and for him to work for you for 20 years, I mean, what can you say? Like that's a true leadership. That's a true leader right there. Like that's leadership right there. That not everybody has that, right?
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's
thanks, Luis.
because of your why as well. That if you go back to it, it's because you're why. Because you know exactly what you want to do and how you want to impact people, right?
Sure.
So
Sure.
even like you say, it's not indirect, but I mean, it's indirect, but it's because of your why. That's the whole thing. Like you understand exactly, right? And I'm pretty sure if I don't know his name, but I'm pretty sure if you go back to him and somebody doesn't know who you are, but he can explain or he can tell people, hey, I had a great boss, that the guy who taught me this and that, and he was going to be grateful for you forever. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, totally. It's when you have that mindset with all of your employees, I don't fear them leaving. I look at it as either they're going to be with me and I continue to create value with them, or I'm a stepping stone so they can create value in other parts of their life. You know, if every one of my staff members come to me at some point and go, Michael, I'm moving in a different direction, my hope is that I can celebrate that. You know, that's what I work for, is if I can create a stepping stone and opportunity for them to make better success elsewhere, I've done my job. Of course, my hope is that they stay with me and we create success together. But, you know, I want to always be looking at how can we, even in the interim, in the 1 year or 2 year or 3 year that they may be with me, how can I be that stepping stone?
Right. No, that's like I said, and my partner always also says like that too. He say, when somebody leaves, I'm happy for them because they have grown and they're gonna be better than they were before. Again, it's all about leadership, and definitely can see it on you. So that talks really well about you. I'm pretty sure if I ask everybody, if I ask everybody in your team right now, nobody's gonna talk about it about you. Otherwise, they won't even be there. You know what I mean? I went there, look up your team, and they seem happy. They seem really happy. So I'm pretty sure that they have a great person that leads them, and that's beautiful.
Well, I'm constantly learning, and the leader I was a year ago, 2 years, 3 years ago, I know that they can see a change in me. I'm screwing up all the time, and sometimes my ego gets in the way. Sometimes my pride gets in the way. Sometimes my attitude gets in the way. And it impacts. I think probably the biggest thing I've had to learn is the emotional intelligence of managing my emotions regardless what's going on, because it is a direct impact to your team. They see you come in a great mood, they feel it. They see you come in a bad mood, they feel it. It is a big impact. And so I'm a very emotional guy. I can have swings like, who knows, like a 3-year-old child, but managing that and doing my best, not that I want to hide things, but doing my best to always be on my A game to the best that I can. Otherwise it impacts them. I come in a piss poor mood, they see it. It affects the team.
Definitely. I recently actually read one of John Maxwell's book, and it talks about that you're saying. Honestly, it talks about that, and it's very important that you, once you read something, you put it in perspective, and you start thinking and see how you can impact people, either positive or negative.
Yeah, totally. So, what book was that in John Maxwell?
Charismatic Leader.
Okay, I haven't read that one. We're actually, as a team, reading the 15 indisputable laws of teamwork, or the 15 irrefutable laws of teamwork. Is that what it is? I can't remember. Or 17 indisputable or 17 irrefutable laws of teamwork. But what we do is everybody's got the book, and everybody reads a portion of that book every day. They take notes on it, and we all send it to each other in a group chat. And then about once a month, we come together in a group setting, and we do an exercise based on a couple chapters that we learned. So really trying to, it's my way of pushing and encouraging others to learn. How can we be better as a team? And then also once a month, when we have an activity, I push my leadership to be creative. to come up with something where it brings the whole team in. And so we have played games, we have done team building exercise and very memorable things on those once a month meetings, all based off of a book.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw in your Instagram page that you guys were doing the last time. I think was a bridge. Was very impressive. You know, that's what. So I saw that bridge, and I'm telling you, I've been following you for quite a time now, and you're somebody that I admire, role model. You know, it's where I want to be. I want to go.
Yeah.
And I'm just thankful for it. So,
well, I appreciate that, Luis.
I saw that.
Tell me what are some of your, next year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year goals that you have in mind?
Yeah. So after the Connect, I came blown away from the amount of information that was there, like good information. And, I'm starting to set up my whole workflow. I'm starting to set up my whole automations, all that stuff. I'm starting to set it up because I want to grow my business to about $3 million.
Okay.
Right? But I cannot do everything by myself.
Sure.
And I know there's people that probably have done it already. So it's to ask them questions. How have you done it? What can I do so I don't make the same mistakes you've done? Right.
Sure.
So that's what I want to start doing. And I met great people to connect. So people that I stay in touch with constantly. Right. So I want to be able to grow my business to 3 million. Right now it's 1.2, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to grow it, but also at the same time, I want to be able to just do X amount of jobs a year.
Right.
Right. Not do all the jobs just because. Right.
Sure.
And I'm just shifting that little by little because before, like I told you before, I used to do everything. I would say yes to everything, even though I wasn't making money. Right. Now I know my numbers. Now I know exactly where I want to go and how I want to get there. Right. Yeah. It's a plan. Yeah. Be able to grow my business and implement more of a subcontractor aspect, right? And shift a little to a more of a build and design concept, right? Just a little bit, just until I go full. Because right now I'm not capable of doing that, just because I feel like I don't have the right team to do it, right? But eventually, once I learn it and once I feel like I'm ready, again, you're never going to be ready for everything or anything. So you have to take a step, right? But once I feel like I can do it, I will shift that and just focus on that. Yeah. That's my focus to like maybe 2-3 years, and keep in touch with people that, I met that connect because they added so much value to me. And I don't know if you ever gone to other events, but the connect was something different. Like I cannot explain it. Like the amount of people there and the energy that you feel, and then you feel connected to them. I go to different events. There's nothing like it.
Yeah. I felt the same way. I've been to the Grant Cardones, the Alex Hermosis, the Tony Robbins, the Mel Robbins. I've been to all of them, and that was a special event. And the very first time I went to see Job Tread, I knew that it was bigger than just a software.
Right.
They wanted, Eric Fortenberry wanted to make an impact in people's lives, and he wanted to make a difference. And so I knew that it wasn't just a software to help us out. It was something way bigger than the software. And so we've already connected with several individuals to help in our own growth. And I'm sure that there's been so many other people that have had that same impact.
Definitely. I mean, I've called a couple, I've emailed a couple of them. We've been in touch, and it's just very good. I mean, I share I share the information I have with anybody. Like I tell them, I can give you everything that I know, or I can share you with everything I know. But if you don't put yourself to work, you're not gonna do anything, right? Yeah. It's the amount of work that you do, right? Sure. It's the thing that if you tell me like, hey, there's this 5 books that helped me in my life, and you can tell me the names, but if I don't read them, they're not gonna help me, because the only book that doesn't help is the one that you don't read.
Yeah. So what are the top 5 books that you've really enjoyed reading?
Yeah, top 5 that has definitely changed my mind. I'll go ready. How to Win and Influence Friends.
Yeah.
That's one.
Yeah. That's a good one.
The one that really changed my mind, my whole persona, was extreme ownership.
That's
How
another good one. Yeah.
CEOs lead, right? But Joko definitely changed my whole mind. Like, definitely.
Yeah.
Charismatic leader was another one. Um, then we have Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
That's been good. And then right now, the other one's the Markup and Profit. That has definitely helped me a lot. So I would say that's a big change. What about you?
Yeah, those are all great books. I would first start with Think and Grow Rich. That would be my first one to have a mind shift. I would also go with Psycho-Cybernetics. That's another great one. Then I would go with How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's another great one. Another good one by Napoleon Hill is The Conversation with the Devil.
Oh.
And that's a really, really good one. It didn't get published until after he had passed away because it was so controversial. But it's basically, the book is laid out like he is having a conversation with the devil and what the devil wants to do to you and all of this stuff. And it really shifted my mindset in business and just personally. It has nothing to do with religion or anything like that. It's just, if you had a conversation with the devil, what would that be? Some other ones, Let Them by Mel Robbins is a great one. I've enjoyed that one. Any of Maxwell's books are great. You know, his leadership books, his teamwork books, they're all super, super great. But I'd say if I had never read anything, I would start out with Think and Grow Rich. That would be the first one. And then Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's another good one.
It was good. Yeah, it's really
Robert
good.
Kiyosaki. That's a really good one to really understand getting your mindset shifted out of the norm when it comes to finances and when it comes to money, and understanding what society has programmed into our mindset and getting out of that into a mindset of how can I create? How can I make money work for me? How can I make money while I'm sleeping? Those are all really great ones.
I'm gonna tell you a little secret that I don't really tell anybody. But when I was in high school, like when I was in school, I hated reading. Now I love reading. And I don't know why it made the change, but I hated reading so much. Like I will not read. Like I will fight for reading. Like I would just hate it. But maybe because I found what I love now, you know.
Yeah.
So that's what I do, and I started listening to podcasts too. I mean, Zig Ziglar has been a definitely help in my life. I never met this guy, but his audios are still on YouTube. Jim Rohn. Oh.
Yeah, Jim Rohn's good.
So definitely, you know, Brian Tracy. Like it's just amazing, and I'm glad that there's so much information, so much technology out there that I can just go and search that up, and whatever they said in the past is still there, and I have access to that, and that's still valuable to anybody now.
Sure.
Because people could be going down, but if you put your mind and your heart to stuff and start listening and start learning, things can change for sure.
Yeah, totally. Well, you know, Luis, if there was one thing I could encourage you to do, and I know that you're already on this path, but the journey from $1 million to 3 million, it starts with mindset. Henry Ford made a statement of whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. And so having that mindset of like 3 million is just a step,
right?
You know, and your energy, your mindset has got to get in alignment with that. Right. You ever seen, if I were to play a guitar or if I were to have a guitar and I were to have a tuning fork, and that tuning fork is the note C. If I hit that tuning fork, the string C, is there string C in the guitar? Okay. The string C would hum because they're on the same frequency. The A string is not going to hum off of a C tuning fork.
Right.
And so with that frequency, that's what we have to do in our lives. We have to align with that frequency. We have to align with the mindset and the frequency of 3 million. If you're talking and speaking and saying things that aren't in alignment with 3 million, that A string is never going to hum with a C fork. It won't do it. And so you have to be in alignment. You have to work constantly at being in alignment with that goal, with that dream, with that direction you're going.
Definitely. I think mindset's big. I think personally, I think I would call it myself like I think I would say I'm having an elite mindset. Because mindset has to be really powerful. Like you can do anything you want, right? But you just have to have the right mindset. There's a quote, I can't remember who said it. I can't remember the name of the person right now, but he said that you can lose everything in life, but if you don't lose your mindset, you're good. I can't remember who said it or not, but I can't remember. But I saw a quote, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is gold right here.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. I can't remember the author. I think his first name was Joel, and I can't remember his last name. But he said that when we had the rocket that went to the moon, it was off course 87% of the time. And with all the technology and everything we had back then, being off course 87% of the time is huge. But all they did was when they got off course, they made a course correction. They made a course correction. They made a course correction. That made a course correction. And they made it to their goal. They made it to their destination. And so we don't have to be on course. We just have to be willing to get back on course. When you got your GPS programmed in and you make that wrong turn, it doesn't sit there and go, you idiot, or quit, park the car, stop, you're dumb. It doesn't do anything like that. It just course corrects. Make this next left turn, to get you back on track. So it's not difficult. We just got to be willing to course correct. We got to be willing to have that awareness, recognize it, and make a course correction.
Right. And, one of the things too is that you're right about that. You're totally right. And it's about the mindset. I was at the point in the business that I was losing so much money and I was losing like my business, but I had the mindset. And I was able to go afloat and be able to survive it because I was drowning. I was literally drowning, and and I knew people who have gotten out of debts. So I was like, how did they do it? How can I do it the same way they did it so I don't have to like drown? Because I love my business. I love like Blue Wave to me. It's my baby.
Yeah, sure.
I love it. I love my company. I'm proud of the company that I have built and I'm building. Right. So I was like, I don't want this company to fail,
Yeah, sure.
There was times that I couldn't sleep, but my girlfriend was always supportive,
Yeah.
So, and have supporting people in your life, it's real, and you got to take care of them.
Yeah,
because
totally.
Nobody believed in you and they were there for you. Those are the people that needs to be with you forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
well, in wrapping things up, Luis, any other questions, thoughts that you just got to get out there?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. So you're a remodeler company or build and design company?
We're a full design build remodeling company. We do new construction, and that is something we are starting to get a little bit more involved with. We have a new construction going on right now, but 95% of our projects are all remodel, kitchens, baths, basements, additions. Our average remodel is about just shy of $300,000. But we do the smaller ones and we do the larger ones.
Right.
We've got a couple $600,000 ones going on right now, 500,000. And so, we typically just don't limit ourselves. to projects, and if there is a limitation, it's mostly on the smaller scale. It's hard, as you probably know, to send a team of 20 or so people for a job that is the size of a $5,000 job.
Okay.
You know, but sometimes we do it. Sometimes there's enough value there that the client wants us to do it. But yeah, I've been doing it 28 years. It's been a long time, but 28 years, Luis, for the first 22 years, I thought that business would just come to me and it would be handed to me just because I wanted it.
Right.
It wasn't until I shifted my mindset and had the mindset shift as well as the hard work. When those became aligned, I started doubling and tripling and quadrupling my revenue year over year.
It's about 6 years ago.
Yeah. 6 years ago was when I really shifted my mindset. And I went through a lot even before that. I went through a divorce in 2008. Downturn in the economy was 2008. Lost everything I had, lost my home. It was a mess. I went from a home that I built to sleeping in a basement apartment with my kids, having my kids every other weekend or every other week, and 1-bedroom basement. They were sleeping on the couch and an air mattress, and I was sleeping on a twin bed for 3 years. And that difficult time is what built the structure I have today. You know, it started the process of growth. It started the process of shifting my mindset, creating vision boards, creating that alignment with growth and direction. And it took a little while. It took a while for me to understand it. At one point, 2012, I was still somewhat lost and rode my bicycle across the United States. Took a one-way trip across, flew to San Francisco with my bicycle, and rode my bicycle back to the coast of North Carolina. And all of it was trying to figure out who I was.
That's very impressive.
And that trip taught me so much. It taught me how to fight through when failure comes. And I was run off the road at one point, found myself laying in a creek, firefighters coming down to rescue me, broken ribs. And my brother, I got on the phone with him that evening, and he said, Michael, if you don't get on the bike, every day that goes by will be harder to get back on that bicycle. That next morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, I was back on that bicycle. Wow. And so that trip just taught me that life is full of adversities. Life is full of issues and problems. And there were times where, not only getting run off the road, 32 or 35 flat tires throughout the trip, 115-degree temperatures, losing pieces to my bicycle, setting my tent on fire, setting my clothes on fire because of a faulty little stove. There were so many things, but if there was one thing it taught me, Luis, on the second to the last day that I was on this trip, and I'll wrap it up with this, the second to the last day, my coach, who I had hired to help me through this journey, she said, I want you to take it all in on that second to the last day. Don't do it on the last day because you'll be absorbed with the arrival of coming to the coast. And so at first I thought it was weird, but I did what she said. And that day I had been averaging about 90 to 100 miles a day in riding. And that day I was so tired. I'm like, I'm ready for this trip to be over. I was over it. I was done mentally. I was clocked out. And what I did was I would focus on 10 miles at a time. And I would just ride 10 miles and then I'd reevaluate. And then I'd take a break. I'd get something to drink. I'd get some food. And then I'd go another 10 miles and I'd reevaluate. That day became the longest day I rode my bike. I did over 200 miles with micro goals, not the big goals, not the eat the elephant goal. The bite-sized pieces. Ended up going 200 miles that day, which left me about 70 or 80 miles to do on the final day, where I could then just bask in the joy and the trip and the arrival of getting to the coast and seeing family and my kids and friends and all of that. But that trip taught me so much about life. It taught me that adversities are going to come, but from adversities, from failure comes success. You know, never look down on the failures, never look down on the difficulties. Look for ways to create awareness, look for ways to grow from it, because that's where success comes from.
Wow, Michael. Wow. This is just like impressive. I'm going to go, like, I'm after this conversation, rethink everything that you have just said. And like, I'm literally going to cry, because it's another way to see life.
Sure.
Sometimes that we are so focused on other stuff that we don't really enjoy life. And what you did with your bike story, I'm going to remember forever. Like, yeah. I'm going to remember your bike story. And that's the same thing I do stuff now too. I have a higher goal, but now I try to do things by, for instance, mine would be lose weight. I do it 5 pounds at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, totally. Just bite-sized pieces. Well, that trip taught me to just keep pedaling. Just keep pedaling. Whether it's 35 miles today or whether it's 200 miles, you just keep pedaling. And so as you're on your journey through going from 1 million to 3 million, you just keep pedaling. You're going to have those setbacks. You're going to have those flat tires. You're going to have those, I set the tin on fire. You're going to have those crashes, but you just keep pedaling. You just keep moving forward and you just get up, and you don't let the circumstances, you don't let the situations be the determination of whether you don't move forward or not. There is no option. You just keep pedaling.
Wow.
So, Luis, it's been awesome, brother. Thank you for the opportunity. Luis Barraza from Blue Wave Home Improvement. It's been awesome, brother. I love hearing your passion, your love, and your journey. It's been great. Thanks for joining us, and look forward to seeing your growth, your endeavors over the next year. And the next time we see each other, I want to see more out of you.